All thanks and praises due to the basis foundation. God is most great, and none has the right to worship you. Hello, everyone. It's Stepdogg, the Hip Hop Prophet, and I'm here with the next video in the YouTube series. And the name of this video is The Book of Revelation Revealed, Part 20, The Trumpets, the Sixth Trumpet. In this video, I'm only going to discuss the Sixth Trumpet, which happens to be the second woe of God's wrath, but nonetheless, let me read that. The first woe is past, two other woes are yet to come. The sixth angel sounded his trumpet, and I heard a voice coming from the four horns of the golden altar that is before God. It said to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, release the four angels who are bound at the great rivers Euphrates. And the four angels who had been kept ready for this very hour and day and month and year were released to kill a third of mankind. The number of the mounted troops was twice 10,000 times 10,000. I heard the number. The horses and riders I saw in my vision looked like this. Their breastplates were fiery red, dark blue, and yellow as sulfur. The heads of the horses resembled the heads of lions, and out of their mouths came fire, smoke, and sulfur. A third of mankind was killed by the three plagues of fire, smoke, and sulfur that came out of their mouths. The power of the horses was in their mouths and in their tails, for their tails were like snakes, having heads with which they inflict injury. The rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues still did not repent of the work of their hands. They did not stop worshiping demons and idols of gold, silver, bronze, stone, and wood, idols that cannot see or hear or walk, nor did they repent of their murders, their magic arts, their sexual immorality, or their thefts. Okay. Now I repeated the last sentence from the prior video. The first woe is past. Two other woes are yet to come. Okay. So the fifth trumpet was the first woe. That was the locust. That has come and passed. There's still the sounding of the sixth trumpet, which is the second woe, and the seventh trumpet, which is the third woe of God's wrath. Okay, so the sixth angel sounded his trumpet, and I heard a voice coming from the four horns of the golden altar that is before God. It said to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, release the four angels who were bound at the great river Euphrates, and the four angels who had been kept ready for this, very hour, day, moment, month, and year were released to kill 1/3 of mankind. The number of the mounted troops was twice 10,000 times 10,000. I heard the number. Okay. The last sentence there, that twice 10,000 times 10,000. 10,000 times 10,000 is 100 million. So twice that is 200 million. John made sure to let everybody know what that number is, because you want to know what? There's only one nation on earth with 200 million troops, and that's the 200 million man army of China. So these four angels that are discussed, basically what the sixth trumpet sounds is the mother of all wars, and that's the second woe of God's wrath. The mother of all wars is going to start on the continent of Asia, and that's where the majority of the fighting is going to be. It doesn't mean there's not going to be fighting in other volatile parts of the world, because obviously the mother of all wars is going to be their excuse to fight too. So, there is the possibility of fighting and warring in other parts of the world, but nonetheless, the Asian continent is going to be the continent where this mother of all wars is truly just unfolding on a massive scale. And the reason it is going to be on a massive scale is because The Chinese have a 200 million man army. And during the hour of judgment, obviously God destroyed the South China Sea. That completely destroyed China's economy. Then after the woe of the locusts, there's going to be maybe another billion of Chinese with marks on either their hands or their foreheads. So once they have these marks, they're going to be like, okay, well, if God's going to kill us and we're going to hell, we're taking as many people with us. So that 200 million man army is going to be unleashed on all the people of Asia. They're not really going to be able to come over here to America. Well, first of all, because I'm here with the rod, and the rod is God, so God's not going to allow them to do jack. But what they're going to do is they're going to branch out of China and try to start invading the other nations around them. So the Chinese are going to be the ones to start the mother of all wars. If that's what's considered World War III, that's fine. But I consider the war on terror technically the start of World War III. But, you know, if the 200 million man army gets unleashed, technically that's World War III. Like that's a bigger army than any of the armies combined from the first two world wars. So that is going to be the mother of all wars. And that is what this whole section is about. The sixth trumpet and the second woe of God's wrath. The sixth trumpet of judgment and the second woe of God's wrath is going to be the mother of all wars. Then, the horses and riders I saw in my vision looked like this. Their breastplates were fiery red, dark blue, and yellow as sulfur. The heads of the horses resembled the heads of lions, and out of their mouths came fire, smoke, and sulfur. A third of mankind was killed by the three plagues of fire, smoke, and sulfur that came out of their mouths. The power of the horses was in their mouths and in their tails, for their tails were like snakes, having heads which they could inflict injury. Okay, well, basically, here John's just describing what the soldiers look like and what the military vehicle looked like. Now, obviously, in his time, troops rolled into battle on horses. That's how they rode into battle. So that's why he describes them as horses. But basically, he's describing military vehicles. When the smoke comes out of their mouths, well, that's tanks. That's tanks firing out of their cannons. Not only that, but with the snakes' heads, cannons can go like this, but it's not only that. There's other types of military vehicles, jeeps, armored jeeps and whatnot, where they might have an artillery cannon firing out of the front of the jeep. And then they have a machine gun on back, swiveling back and forth, killing people. And that's what John is describing here. Let me go further. Okay. I described the heads. That's when the military vehicles are firing forward. A third of mankind was killed by the three plagues of fire, smoke, and sulfur that came out of their mouths. You have to realize over half of the human population is in Asia. So, actually, probably closer to 2/3. Now, the hour of judgment, you're gonna have you're gonna have close to 2 billion people dead from the hour of judgment in Asia, because not only from the volcanic eruptions, the nuclear explosion, and the water, the big waves and the tsunamis, you're gonna have over 2 billion dead people already. But the mother of all wars is going to kill a third of mankind as well. So basically, whatever the population gets reduced to after the hour of judgment, the Chinese and the mother of all wars is going to kill another third of mankind. And then, he describes the power of the horses was in their mouths and in their tails. For their tails were like snakes, having heads with which they inflict injury. And that's, me describing the swiveling artillery guns and cannons on the back of the military jeeps and whatnot. You know, how they could rotate back and forth and, kill people. So, I mean, that's what he's describing there. He's just describing the weapons and the military vehicles that are going to be used in the mother of all wars. The rest of mankind were not killed by these plagues. Or I should say, the rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues still did not repent of the work of their hands. They did not stop worshiping demons and idols of gold, silver, bronze, stone, and wood, idols that cannot see or hear or walk. Nor did they repent of their murders, their magic arts, their sexual immorality, or their thefts. Basically, what John's being told here is that the mother of all wars is obviously going to be taking place on the continent of Asia. Like I said, there might be fighting in other areas, in pockets of the world. But like, for instance, the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America. Like, unless there's infighting on them continents, there's not going to be any type of warring like that. The warring is going to be taking place in another part of the world, and that's the whole point. The people not affected by that are going to continue to reject God. I mean, those who already made the decision to not follow the golden rule. Basically, he's saying, they're going to continue to do what they do. They're going to continue to pray to idols, worship gold, silver, and all these precious metals. They're going to not repent for their sins, like their murders, their thefts, their sexual immorality, and all that stuff. So basically, even after all of this, there's going to be people who are going to be like, I'm not going to follow the golden rule because I don't care. But they're going to receive marks and they're going to die and go to hell. But basically, that's what he's explaining there. And the mother of all wars is the second woe. And this is from the section of the book of Revelation, the trumpets. And this is regarding the sixth trumpet. All thanks and praises due to the basis foundation. God is most great. None has the right to be worshipped but you.